December the 11th, 5 o'clock, excuse me, thank you. We do not have a quorum yet. Commissioner Miller is going to be running a little bit late. She was doing a closing. And Commissioner Teacher is sick today. And Commissioner Genome, her home got hit by the tornado this weekend, pretty bad. And so she is, also her husband was having surgery today, so she is going to not be here tonight. So we will go ahead, we will not be able to take any official actions of the committee until we have our quorum, but I want to go ahead and open with prayer, and then we will move to the recognition of the public. Recognition of the public, we have 6 people speaking, want to speak, so we only have about less than 15 minutes because we do have to do a meeting. We have to be done by 5:30, so I'll probably limit public comments to about 2 minutes apiece, so we can get all 6 people in that have signed up as soon as we get started. So let's pray. Dear Jesus, we just thank you, Father, for your blessings and your protection over our county, that even though that people lost property, that we did not leave any lives here, Father, and I just pray for the community that did lose lives to these storms, God. And I just pray for the families that have emotional duress and stress over loss of property and homes and their businesses, God, that you would comfort them, that you would show your way of provision for them, Father. And I just pray for Commissioner Genome, for her home that was affected and damaged, or any other of our legislative members that had any problems, God, that you would just give them peace, give them wisdom, no problems with insurance agencies or any kind of disaster recovery relief. And God, I just pray for Commissioner Jones, his husband, as he's having surgery, God, that you would just protect him and supernatural healing for him, and same for Commissioner Teacher, that you would restore his body to health. And I just pray your blessings over us, and we just thank you for your goodness and your mercy over our county, and thank you for our first responders. And just that supernatural, just a miraculous time frame on that, and we just bless your holy name. Amen. All right, we're going to get started with public comments. If you can just come up to the table and state your name and address for the record when I call you, I'm going to set the time for 2 minutes. Ms. Joanna Daniels.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here tonight and seeing y'all. And just want to talk tonight about the library board committees. I want to say thank you guys so much for bringing some things forward. I know it has been crazy last few months, and it really hasn't been able to come forward because you guys have so much stuff on your plate. So I just appreciate everything and you guys being here. And you know, I was one of the first people that got appointed with a new commission, and so, and it has been a wonderful time being on the board, and I so appreciate it. And I know you guys have brought some names forward, and other people got appointed, and people have had to resign, but I've been on other boards before, and people come and they go, and it's just, life happens, and some people, this is voluntary. So, some things, some things change and life changes. And so we have had a lot of stuff in the last year that the library board has had to bring about. I mean, new policies, creating the bylaws and everything like that. And everyone that I've worked with that you guys have brought forward has been amazing. I know that this policy that we created that was actually brought to us, and we had to do it according to state law, has brought a lot of talk, which it should, and but it is so that we can protect our children, and so that we can do according to state and federal law. And again, I trust Jeremy Mansfield and what he's done to vet these people, and I trust the people that you guys bring forward. So thank you so much for allowing me to serve.
Next up, we have Linda Herrera. Yeah, state your name and address for the record.
Linda Herrera, 152 Saturday Lane, Indiana. So far, I've been pretty happy with the library board members that have been appointed and are creating policies. I appreciate the hard work that Jerry Jeremy Mansfield Day. And he has been doing week and bringing forward names that will serve the community, and I have confidence in Jeremy Mansfield. Thank you.
All right, next we have Jim Holcomb.
Good evening, Jim Holcomb, 511 Colesbury Road, Gallatin. I currently serve on the Sumner County Library Board, and so thank you for that opportunity. If the emails you received are anything like mine, there's a lot of rhetoric around the qualifications of members appointed to the Library Board. As nobody who has authored any of these emails has bothered to ask me my qualifications, I thought I'd take a minute to share them here. And I hope doing so will illustrate the care and attention this committee takes in selecting members to serve the best interests of our public. I was a public high school teacher for a number of years. I still hold an active teaching credential. For 21 years until my retirement in 2021, I served as a special agent in the U.S. Secret Service. In addition to the duties at the White House protecting our president, I voluntarily took on the collateral duties of partnering with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to educate and protect our children against exploitation. And this included visiting schools, meeting with teachers, librarians, and students about internet safety and to avoid the attempts at exploitation by predators. I'm passionate about the values of our country and our Constitution and protecting our children. This board has been called an activist board. I reject the term out of hand. In meeting with the library directors, as I did after being appointed, it was noted to me that no board member had ever met with the library director so soon after being appointed. I had asked, well, what do they normally do? And my director, who I met with, said nothing. And I said, well, why did they do that? They said, I think they just like the title. And I said, well, that's unfortunate. I don't think we're activists. I would call us active. I think there are laws and rules that have long been overdue in being implemented, and our library board is seeking to do just that. I have great faith and confidence in the people you've appointed since I've been here, these 6 months, and my hope is that you'll continue to appoint people who are passionate and active. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Alice Dahlweg.
Hello, I'm Alice Dahlweg. I'm a resident here in Gallatin, and I would just like to stand in favor of what the library board has been doing in Sumner County. I'm also pleased the library board is protecting the children of Sumner County. And I trust Jeremy Mansfield to appoint people to the library board that will serve the county well. And so far, the people that he has brought forward are great appointments and have been serving the county wonderfully. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Emily Goddard.
Hello, my name is Emily Goddard. I live at 245C Southeast Road in Portland. I'm here to speak about the library board as well, and I'm not, don't have any notes prepared. I apologize. I lost track of time today. I just put a clean shirt on in the car. I've been out and about running errands and donating. I would just say, I know it's not up to this body, but in a broader term, I would recommend a larger representation on the library board as the subcommittees that are involved, and it's a heavy lift for people, and I'm not knocking anything anybody is currently doing. But right now, there are 7, I think, on the library board, and traditionally it's been at 11, so I would recommend filling those seats. And I would like to say I did throw my hat in the ring. I emailed the commissioners and Mr. Mansfield, but I think it was after this agenda had already come out, the names had been put forward. So I'm not sure what the whole process is. I'm learning a lot in all of this and reading a lot. But I would say just try to make sure that there's representation from each community within the county, because our county is so diverse. There are people who are geographically diverse, we're racially, ethnically diverse, our values are diverse. I think equal representation matters, because that body governs the libraries for all. And I don't just use the library in my community because I drive all over the county. I use the libraries in all the communities. If there's a program at a different place I might want to attend, I try to do that as well. So I think it matters who's on the board. Different opinions will make it better. and make it best for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Patricia Smith.
Thank you, Commissioners. I live at 112 England Place in Hendersonville. And for my 2 minutes, I'd like to read an email written by a good friend of mine, Henry Launder. And I think it pretty much sums up what I feel as well. Tonight, the Committee on Committees is meeting and discussing nominations for appointment to the Library Board. Upon reviewing the resumes and knowing many very qualified individuals who submitted applications online before they magically disappeared, I have questions. Who is nominating these folks? Who is choosing now that the library board itself is no longer reviewing the applications? When did the process change? What qualifications besides aligning with Mr. Mansfield's ideology are being considered? Do Sumner County librarians and citizens not deserve a top-notch library board? As a county commission who has a majority ran as fiscally responsible, several of you seem to be hell-bent, I'm sorry about that word, on getting the county sued with new library policy that was poorly written, gave no implementation, and by an unqualified board member who has a very public, religious, zealous reputation.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to
Now a
self-declared
insurrectionist and folks with associate degrees and no listed true qualifications are among tonight's nominations. How are constitutionalists not considering the Constitution when writing policy? How are those that explain they are staunch supporters of America willing to put accused insurrectionists on the library board?
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to stop making defamatory and disparaging remarks about citizens.
I also urge the county commission to keep the library board at 11 members and that others be included in these nominations so the board reflects our community and contains members with legal library science board experience, etc. Thank you.
All right, that closes public comments. All right, we are going to get back to our agenda. That Mr. Miller is here. We have a quorum. Approval agenda. Do I have a motion? Motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Holmes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Approval of minutes, October 16th, 2023. Got a motion? Motion by Miller, second by Holmes. All in favor, say aye. Public done. For the chairman, I do have some things to say that I want to talk about. I guess I just wanted to, on a matter of record, explain the process of how this committee works, starting with the previous commission. What the previous commission did for, I guess, 8 years was that the chairman of this committee, and the last one was Commissioner Paul Goody, was responsible for gathering names and getting recommendations to fill committee slots, and that was the role of the duty of this committee, or take recommendations from the county mayor for items that are filled by the county mayor's slot. And what the previous commission did with this committee is they would put on an agenda a full commission, a slate of people before they even had a meeting of the committee. And then they'd have a meeting 30 minutes before the commission meeting started. There was no recordings, there's no really discussion, and it just lasted a few minutes. So one thing that I wanted to do differently is to do it a week ahead of time when it makes sense to me to put people forward on a commission agenda that you haven't discussed the week before, or even give people time to reach out to them. So that was something that different than we did. But one thing that a document that explains the purpose of the Committee on Committees is that it shall be to make recommendations and nominations to the county commission for membership on all committees, subcommittees, boards, or commissions elected by the commission, and for all other positions which are filled by election by the county commission. So as previously stated, the job of this committee and the job of myself as chairman as a filtering process is to seek out and find candidates and vet recommendations and to put forward nominations to the board according to what our rules say, according to what this document that we've already had on a description of the committees, which is in our standing rules. And so that's how the process works. And it's no different than the county mayor. The county mayor has statutory authority to put forward a name as a recommendation for what board committee that he has that authority for. And so the commission, since we're 24 members, we act as a single body. That's why we have the committee on committees, has always been my understanding, is that is kind of like acts as the county mayor in that sense as a committee to put forward, find nominations, and put those people forward at the pleasure of the commission. So it's a little bit, I don't know why, and that's just how the process works, and so that's just how the committee structure works for the commission, and same for the mayor. We don't get to question the mayor how he finds people, and we can vote them up or down and question them when they come forward, but it's his prerogative to find people to be on these committees, and that's how the county mayor works, and that's how the commission works, and that's how this committee on committee works, and that's how it's structured. As far as the library board, I think questions have been asked is like, where's applications, or I know Chairman Hyde had mentioned back in September or October of 2022 when we first were seated that he did not believe in self-perpetuating boards where the library board was self-perpetuating its members, and that's not the library board's job or authority, it's the county commissions. And so I know people don't like change, but there were a lot of things that were done wrongly and incorrectly. Previous several commissions, I guess, handing over duties and responsibilities to other governmental entities or agencies that didn't lawfully or statutorily have that authority. So again, so that was a change of the commission going through the process and finding people to find boards. And so I know that's how it's been for all these boards, except for things that the county mayor has statutory authority over. I did want to bring up something that I guess the members got. Chairman Hyde has sent a letter to us over the weekend suggesting that we appoint Commissioner Bergdorf to replace one of the current nominees that's on the slate. To my knowledge, Commissioner Bergdorf had not expressed interest to this board, any members. All due respect, I definitely appreciate Chairman Hyde, and as the Bible says, give honor to honor is due, and Chairman Hyde has been a strong voice for our community for a long time, and been a strong supporter of conservative ideas and values. And I just, given the public interest, however, of this board and our desire to do things in an open and transparent manner, I didn't feel that a last-minute request personally to put a commissioner on the board when resumes and letters of interest had already been published and put out to the public was necessarily the right way to go about it. So that's just my opinion. It made me feel a little unsettled, and so I definitely want to take into consideration Chairman Hyde's request or Commissioner Bergdorf's request to be on this committee. But tonight we have three members that have reached out to us and that we've spoken with, and took the time to put the resumes forward as a matter of public interest, and so the public can look at them, and commissioners can call them, ask them questions, and wanted to have the opportunity for them to, they can get voted up or get voted down, and we can be back here next month. But I felt like that was a fair thing to do. I do want to talk about for the library board specifically. I understand there are 11 positions on the board, but contrary to what the public thinks, or even some library board members think, that just happened 2 years ago in July of 2021. The library board always had 9 members. Part of what the previous county mayor and previous county attorney did was they restructured the library board to create a centralized library, I guess more a bureaucratic level of government, and with a new library director over the directors, and they pulled money from each of the individual libraries. And that the library board members at the time didn't agree with, and some of them were dismissed and removed from the board by the county mayor. One of the library board directors, she was fired because of her speaking out against that move at the time. And so there were a lot of things done 2 years ago that really didn't make sense. And one of those as well was increasing the membership from 9 to 11 members. And I remember at the time, The excuse given in committee was, the county mayor was, well, we don't have enough people coming to meetings, so we need more people. And I just thought that was just the most bizarre thing. I remember Commissioner Mo Taylor and I was sitting here and we're just like, that's just crazy. I mean, at the time, it was myself and Chairman Hyde and Commissioner Taylor voted against increasing the members to 11 members. And I'll be talking about this in legislative, but both CTAS and the Red River regional director under this Secretary of State supervision had said that this board is way too large for our county, the size of our county, the number of libraries, and that 9 or 7 was a respectable number. And so, that's, I'm talking about this in a legislative, I don't want to belabor that point, but just explaining the reasoning. So it's up to the body of the commission whether they want to do that or not, which is fine, and we'll find other candidates to fill out the slot if that is a pass. But I am bringing forward that resolution in legislative after this meeting. And so that's why I just had 3 members on here. It was something that I felt was a bad move 2 years ago, and I was pleased with the library board did to get rid of the consolidated system and put those monies back into the individual libraries and library directors and give those library directors control and autonomy over each of their libraries. And that was the goal, because there was work funds taken away, and there were salaries that after they were reduced as part of that process that some of the library board members told me after the fact they had problems with. So the goal was to reverse some of those bad decisions and some of that administrative bloat, and part of it was just the administrative bloat of the library board at the time as well. So that's just the rationale and reasoning. No big deal if somebody doesn't like it or not. They can vote for it or vote against it. No hard feelings for me, but I'm just trying to be completely transparent and just share my thoughts. But tonight, I'm going to move forward with 3 that are here for approval or not. And if there's that in the past, I appreciate Commissioner Bergdorf's willingness to serve on this committee. And I did not know that a commission. Commissioner Bergdorf did a fantastic job. But again, that was just my personal, just because we already put this out there as a matter of public record, it just made me uncomfortable to just kind of change that at the last minute on this one because of just so much public attention to this. That have come and spoken at our meetings and reached out to the board, and as well as homeschooling moms and dads, which I heard been spoken of in a negative manner, which I was very disappointed to hear about the emails in public comments. And there have been, as a former state senator, as a current state senator, that contacted the library board that was in favor of the policy. In its compliance with state law, and it's a requirement by a lot of people don't realize this. The Secretary of State gave them a deadline of January 1st to redo the policy to be compliant with TCA 39-17-914. And so I do appreciate their efforts to protect kids from having access to sexually explicit, pornographic, pedophilic reading materials that are in violation of state law. So I do appreciate their efforts. Some people didn't agree with it, or I don't understand that, but that's just me personally. So I just wanted to get that out there as far as my chairman's report, and try to answer some of these questions to the best of my ability on some of these nominations in our process on how this happens. And we have had a lot of people who have emailed the commission, but it's just, I guess, the discretion of this board and myself as chairman for just vetting candidates, and anybody can apply, I guess, through email, and they have done so. But appreciate everybody who has, but this is just kind of following pattern from the previous commissions as long as I've known, and this is how the process has worked, and so we're just following that same process. Other than that, I believe that concludes my report. For the county mayor, it doesn't look like that he is here. So old business, we do have appointments. It was for the Music City Regional Airport Committee. I'll make a motion for this session.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. Just real quick, Samuel Solazanzo, he's a Southwest pilot that was recommended to me by a current board member, and that's on the Airport Resource Authority. You guys, I think, reached out to him. He sent his resume in, and I emailed that to you about a week and a half ago. And I had a chance to talk with him, and he sounds like a fantastic full-time pilot with Southwest, and, you know, has lived here for a good while and loves this community, and I think he'd be a good person to put forward on that board. So, if anybody has any questions or talk to him. Well, do I have a motion for approval or?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Holmes to approve and move on, and second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. All right. Sumner County Regional Planning Commission for your turn. County Mayor recommendation, Tommy Slint has been on there for a while. And I know he was. So I'll make a, I guess if you want to, you guys have opened it up and we'll talk about discuss all of them, and we'll discuss one at a time. Entertain a motion.
Motion to discuss.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Holmes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed. All right, floor is open on these appointments for discussion.
I spoke with Mr. Issa, had a great conversation with him. I feel like he kind of, I don't know that he has a lot of experience with planning, but he is, we had a good conversation. I mean, he's kind of, as being a person on planning, enjoyed our conversation, and I think he would be a good fit for a role on planning commission. And I did reach out to Mr. Little and did not get a answer back from him, unless it happened in the last 2 hours, because I did not have his call.
And I spoke with Mr. Issa as well, had a great conversation. I felt like that he answered my questions well. He was concerned about growth that is not sustained by, you know, infrastructure in schools, and he was very interested in preserving the rural character of the county, and seemed like he was really willing to do that. I did speak with Mr. Little. We had a good conversation as well. He's a farmer here in town, well, not in town, in Westmoreland. We probably didn't share some of the same ideas. I think he was in favor of a little bit smaller acreage for, you know, minimums than I would be comfortable with, just because that's what my constituents have said for me. So, you know, that's one thing that kind of stuck out in answering my questions.
I wasn't, I called Mr. Little, just a week and a half ago, and I have not heard back from him yet either. And I did speak with Mr. Issa. I had a good long conversation with him as well. And I agree. I think, you know, some things he didn't quite understand, and we probably talked about an hour in a good conversation, but I think he would, you know, just having the trust, I think he shares our values and goals as far as what our constituents elected us to do on responsible planning and responsible growth, and to try to make sure that infrastructure is there to catch up with it. He did not have any time for developments or the construction industry, and hadn't seen where he was, you know, given financially to the county mayor or anything. So I mean, I feel it's a little bit, he wouldn't be as biased in his decision-making process. I was pleased and impressed with him. I feel confident moving him forward for the county mayor's recommendation for Mr. Issa. I did have, so Mr. Little, I'll just full disclosure, he lives in Westmoreland, near where Commissioner Taylor lives. I did ask some of Mo's constituents in Westmoreland, just based on resume, not that they knew him. There were concerns that, you know, he is an engineer that has represented many projects on behalf of developers in front of planning commissions. and he has planned and designed nearly 20,000 residential lots and hundreds of multifamily sites. And so the high density of the nature of his employment does concern me as far as not necessarily, I'd be concerned putting somebody like that on the plate into this county want when it comes to managing growth and controlling growth in a way that's not biased. My constituents in Millersville are going through a special election right now, and the bulk of the argument is on development and putting people on boards and committees that are developers, and then they vote on their own projects there and get them passed. And some of the council people there are married to the developers that are on the planning board, and so it's like a kind of a gross self-perpetuating self-interest factory on projects, and not necessarily what's in the best interest of the taxpayers versus what's in the best interest of the business owner there who's voting on their own projects. And so there's a huge battle there going on. I know in White House they had I just say a purge, kind of how a citizen described that one of her newsletters on their board for 2 years, the past 2 years, because they, according to a citizen, they had developers, real estate agents, and builders on their boards and just voting on these projects. And White House has experienced such exponential growth that has, and the citizens are hurting from it now. They're having problems because of it, and they're complaining like how we're going to put kids in school. So all the same things we've been hearing for a long time. And so I know that is super sensitive, at least what I've seen from my constituents, of not putting people on this specifically this board because of the conflict of interest of voting on your own projects or voting on things that benefit you. And so I did see that I had a concern about that with Mr. Little. I did have a concern about that with Mr. Swint. I did speak with Mr. Swint, a super nice guy. I mean, we had a great conversation and talked a long time. I just have a little bit of a check in my spirit, and that's just me, on, he did give approximately $1,700, a little more, to the county mayor for, campaign donations. He and his wife, and, she's a realtor and deals with high volume real estate. And that just makes me a little nervous on that personally, on pushing that forward or voting to approve. But I mean, I would, Mr. Swint, again, very nice, not to disparage his character in any way, but a very intelligent gentleman, had a great conversation, very nice, very respectful. But I'm listening to my constituents and hearing what they're saying about just development growth and people who actually profit from it, being on these boards and committees to make decisions from it. So that's just kind of what I had to say about it and problems that my constituents have. So I'm not sure what you guys want to do here.
I want to make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion to put forward Adam for the planning commission.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Any motion for the other two, or?
For Mr. Little, to consider second, I haven't spoken with him. I'll make a motion to defer that to next week.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Holmes is a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right, Mr. Smith, is there, all right, I don't hear a motion.
Well, I had mixed emotions about that, kind of for the same reasons that you were saying. I had a great conversation with him. I do believe that he is authentic in his desire to to keep the rural areas of the county rural. But what really just concerns me in my gut is if it comes down to the real estate connection in his family. That just, I can't shake that one. I don't know what motion I want to make it for. I'm just saying.
First to next month, if you'd like to bring it back up, these two together?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe with Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Teacher being gone, maybe that's the best thing. But he's been on here for so long. So that's y'all. That's just me.
Then we've had other candidates that,
I mean, it's okay to leave mine in.
wanted to be on there and reached out to the county mayor that he said he would keep their file, so county mayor not here, so.
I think it's
defer, or?
I think it's for the deferred.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'll make a motion to defer.
All right,
And I'll
motion by
second it.
Commissioner Miller to defer, second by Commissioner Holmes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right, we'll move on to Emergency Communications District Board. County
County Mayor recommendation, Buddy Schaefer, he's been on there, a long time. I don't have any problems with this recommendation, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Holmes, second by Commissioner Miller, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion will move forward. Sumner County Library Board of Trustees, I will clarify a little bit. The three names on here, Jennifer Sloan is a Westmoreland representative. She was born and raised there and grew up there, and lives in Bethpage. Tanya Ray is in Gallatin, and Jackie Wright, she lives in Hendersonville, but her husband is pastors at Freedom Church in Gallatin, so she spends the bulk of her time there in Gallatin, so it's kind of an interesting initial resident in Gallatin representation as well. But I just wanted to briefly speak to these real quick. So this is, I guess I was discouraged to hear disparaging remarks against people put forward. Everybody thinks they're qualified, so everybody's qualified. If you're a citizen and pays taxes in Sumner County, you're qualified to be on the Sumner County Library Board. And I'll just state that there is no requirement that somebody lives in the geographical area that they represent. That's happened in the past, previous library boards. But I've tried to be sensitive as best as possible to try to find people who live in these areas. Our current board makeup, we do have a representative that lives in Millersville, and we have a representative that does live in Portland that we put on, and we have a representative that does live in Gallatin that we put on. And so after tonight, basically with these three members, the makeup of the board would be one Westmoreland, one Millersville. You have two from Portland, two from Gallatin, and three technically from Hendersonville. Hendersonville is our biggest library, the largest budget, and so, and Hendersonville, I think, technically is still our biggest city. I'm not sure with Gallatin's growth, what is if it's surpassed Hendersonville yet, but it's getting close. So, Jennifer Sloan, she's a Westmoreland native. She volunteers in juvenile detention centers. She has been a director for a Mother's Day Out program, and she's a board member currently for an organization that's combating sexual exploitation of women in the sex slave trade. And when I look at people who I think are a good fit, who are going to represent the community well, it's somebody who volunteers and works with youth, especially you look at the sex slave trade and the exploitation of women. It starts with sexually explicit graphic materials of kids and getting exposed and groomed and things. So I don't have a problem. I think she'd be a great fit based on what she's seeing on the end result of kids who are exposed to harmful materials and how things can happen. And kids get caught into stuff. Board member Andy Lacey has spoken to that before as well. Tanya Ray, she has a background as a preschool teacher. She is a homeschool mom. She has a background working with special needs children. And she's a mom that depends on libraries for curriculum. So I think, what better type person to be on a library board and be active as somebody who's actually depending on the materials in the library and a safe learning environment for her children to be in. So again, just talking to her, I appreciate her a lot for being willing to put her name in the hat in the ring and coming under scrutiny, and even slanderous remarks were made about her. Jacqueline Wright, or Jackie Wright is what she goes by, is she does, again, work in Gallatin and as part of the Freedom Church community. She has her background in elementary education. She's been a teacher, so she has a background in teaching. She is a homeschool mom, and she right now uses the library for the same reasons, and is very interested in being on the library board and because of what she's seen, and appreciates the policy being put forward and wants to contribute to that and contribute for our libraries being a healthy and safe space for kids, which I think should be all of our goal. But I think these are great candidates personally. Some people might disagree, but I don't have any questions. Like I said, I think I know Commissioner Janone told me she spoke with all three of them, and she would have voted to put them forward, and she thought they were great. Commissioner Teacher, I didn't get a chance to hear from him, so I don't know. But I'll
Could I say something?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Absolutely.
I guess that, first of all, I think I'm supposed to say I have confidence in you. I do. So we'll get that out of the way.
If you don't.
No, I do. agree almost everything, but, I do think that there is a problem with the library system. Now, what it is, I'm not really sure. I have some ideas, but in my 30 years up here, if that's any gauge of things, has caused more eyebrows raised and more conversation than any other thing that than I can ever remember. And I guess how we get to where we want to go is a lot of what we do up here at the county commission. You may take a bus, I may take a train, but we're going to the same place. And how we get there varies. Now, anyone who's on the library board as a homeschool parent, I certainly can say nothing about that because I have 3 grandchildren being homeschooled in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And I'm very happy with the education that they are receiving. So, to any homeschool parents, I am certainly not speaking against them. But I think, and I'm not a voting member of this committee. As chairman, I'm ex officio, and that means that you can listen to me or not listen to me. But I would like to see I'd like to see the commission appoint an ad hoc committee to talk to the library board, to talk to parents, to talk to library directors, to talk to library employees, to talk to the general public, and ask them their opinion of what do you think of the situation? What is all the clamor about? What's going on? And like I say, I would like to see such a committee appointed to examine this, and maybe we can come up with some good thoughts and good ideas. In the meantime, Ms. Bergdorf did reach out to me and suggested that she would like to be a member of the library board. Well, she certainly is vetted in all our eyes. She is a very valued member of the county commission. And I can't think of anyone that I would place on the library board because she says she has her own ideas and opinions of things that she thinks will help the library at this time. I want to make this suggestion that we hold on these names and see if the commission is desirable to appoint an ad hoc committee to come back and say, these are the things that we see, so that we can know who maybe needs to be appointed to the library board based upon the problems that are being seen there or in the libraries. This thing is not going to go away. We may wish it away. It's not going away. It's bigger than you know. If you go to the barber shop, if you go to a ball game, if you go anywhere, you're going to hear about this. So I'd rather not go into it blinded. I would rather go into it with some knowledge of, is everything okay? If it is, fine. Are there things that need to be fixed? If there are things that need to be fixed, let's fix it. But I'd like to recommend that we appoint, I think it'd be good to have a liaison on the committee, for quite frankly. I would like to recommend that we appoint Ms. Bergdorf and hold on other library board members or suggested members until we can see if the commission is agreeable to appoint an ad hoc committee. So that's my suggestion, and you all can take it or leave it for what it's worth.
we have a motion to discuss, but we haven't made, can we make a motion to discuss? No, we didn't make a motion to discuss on this.
I'll let you do that. I'll make a motion to discuss.
Seconded by Commissioner Holmes, on favor side?
Aye.
All right, so now, the floor is open for this, my apologies. Yeah, I have comments. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I would like to say that it is concerning to me that there has for whatever reason that is, it seems like every other month we're having to put somebody else on there. And I never dreamed in a million years that the library board would be like that to the library. But it is a big deal. So it's just kind of concerning to me. And maybe it is a good idea for an ad hoc to go forward.
I've been burned a little bit by ad hoc, so all due respect, so I'm not a huge fan of ad hocs personally, and so, because, unfortunate things that happen, untrue things, but change is not fun for people, and, when you keep the status quo for a long time, when you disrupt the status quo, people get upset about it, and, I can't speak to turn on the library board. The ironic thing is, if people wouldn't quit the library board, the policy everybody's upset about would never pass probably, so I'm just leave that out there. And so, I would rather push these for commission. I think it needs a fair shot on this point. I mean, it's just the will of the body commission to, determine how to bring it up and form an ad hoc, and that's the will of the body, and obviously that's what would happen. But I don't, I've heard, it depends on who you're listening to. Again, I've heard from pastors, I've heard from a lot of community leaders and community members outside of what some would call an echo chamber, and we get accused of being an echo chamber, so getting out of that echo chamber, and heard a lot of voices that have supported the changes that have taken place, and so, it's just a matter of opinion, I guess, who you're listening to, so I respect, Chairman Hines hearing something different than I'm hearing, and it's just, I know that this is, I'm not going to have my feelings hurt if I voted down on everything, and I'm not going to be mad at anybody, so what you guys do, but I'm not supportive of an ad hoc personally, and I am supportive of these candidates just because I spend a lot of time, asking them lunch, talking to people, looking at people, and looking this over, and so I don't have any problem with these people. And again, these are people, these are just good, godly Christian men and women who represent our community values that I think would be good voices on the board and based on use. And so, to fill out the board, and people are complaining about, hey, the board's not filled, so there's an opportunity to do that or get close to almost doing it. So I would be in favor of moving forward, just pushing it forward to full commission on Wednesday. That's my opinion.
Well, I wasn't necessarily talking about the policy. I was kind of just referring to the whole year in general.
Well, sure. Because again, you took from a library board system and disrupted that. So that was disrupted and made a lot of people mad. We put somebody on the library board, the person who got fired from the library, and I remember the previous staff attorney freaking out about that. But I was like, she has good ideas, so we put her on there. It's like, and we didn't necessarily have the same. I'm a conservative; she was a liberal. So it wasn't like I wasn't looking at her voting record on that one. It was just like, hey, she was passionate about this, and my values aligned with hers and her goals of restoring the library back to the consolidated system and saving the taxpayers about $200,000 in that process. So, and that was upsetting for a lot of people, even on the library board. So a lot of people quit was because of what we were doing and changing that consolidated system back. And so several people quit over that. And so it happens, but it's, if you want to take the ball and go home, people do that. But again, change is not comfortable, but not here to be rude or inconsiderate to people or shame anybody, but we're here just to share our opinions and do the best we can, and make the decisions we feel are in the best interest of our constituents and the people who have reached out to us. And so that's
I'm just hoping at some point we can get a body that stays and can be more effective and efficient as opposed to all the turnover. And I feel like I mean, you know, there are baby steps being made, but that we can get something that's settled. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I mean, it just, I mean, people didn't agree, they quit because they didn't agree necessarily. And I mean, with that consolidated systems, I mean, we can't help that, and we can't help the position we're in. It's just, okay, let's move it forward. But again, the goals that have happened as far as on the board, I think have been good changes and needed changes, both from a fiscal standpoint and from a policy standpoint, in compliance with state law. That's my opinion. You know, it's a directive from the Tennessee Secretary of State on some things. But I'll make a motion to move these three forward to the full commission, you know, up or down vote next Monday. That's my motion. All right, there's no second, so that motion dies from lack of second.
Because of the lack of people here, should we defer this one minute? So we have a legal with us.
I will be fine. I will be okay with that.
Okay, motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to defer it 1 minute.
I'll second it.
There's a motion by Commissioner Miller to defer, and a second by Commissioner Holmes. All in favor, say aye. I'm a no. Want that for the record? This will be. All right, Sumner County Tourism Board. We have 3 members. Kathy Drumlight is a citizen, David Staples is a citizen, and Mindy Christensen is the White House Chamber representative. Based on the new resolution written, I entertain a motion for discussion. Motion by Commissioner Holmes, second by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye. These are recommendations by Commissioner Bergdorf to be on the committee, and so I had a chance to reach out to him a little bit, touch base, and I think these are good recommendations from Commissioner Bergdorf for this committee.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Holmes to approve, second by Commissioner Miller to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, so I will move this to the full commission. And one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,